My entire world flipped on its axis in a single moment. 1 second, we were planning our future together. And the next, I was sitting alone, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. Don't worry, I'm fine now. But at that moment, it felt like staring at a puzzle with crucial pieces missing. No matter how much effort I put in, I couldn't make it all fit. That breakup forced me to confront some difficult questions. Why are relationships so complicated? Why do things that begin with so much beauty and promise end in such a tangled mess? At first, it's all excitement and magic, dreaming big and picturing a perfect future together. But then reality sets in. Effort, timing, compatibility. They all matter far more than you'd expect. And sometimes, even when you give everything you've got, it still doesn't work out. You ever watch a movie with a bittersweet ending? That's exactly how it felt for me. It made me realize that love isn't just about feelings. It's about actions. It's about showing up, putting in the work, and sometimes making the hard choice to walk away when you know it's the right thing to do. I'm not here to sugarcoat things or promise you a fairy tale ending. I want to have an honest conversation about what makes relationships work, why they fall apart, and the lessons we can take from them. Stick with me, because we're diving deep into this together. Point 1. Relationships are like high-performance cars. Relationships are like driving a high-performance car. Let me explain. At first, it's all about the thrill, the roaring engine, the smooth ride, and the feeling that you own the road. But owning a car like that takes more than just driving it. You've got to maintain it. Skip an oil change or ignore a warning light, and eventually, the engine will break down. That's exactly what happened to me. Somewhere along the way, we stopped tending to the relationship. We neglected the little details, the check-ins, the effort, the mutual respect that keep everything running smoothly. Love isn't something you can just coast on. It needs constant care. You have to stay proactive, keep all the parts moving, and never let it idle. I'll admit, I got too comfortable. I thought the relationship would keep going without me putting in the effort. Newsflash, it doesn't. Neglect it and sooner or later, it'll stall. But what happens when you're the only one doing the work, while the other person sits in the passenger seat, expecting you to handle everything? That's when it's time to hit the brakes and reassess who's riding with you. Point 2. Knowing when to walk away. Walking away is one of the toughest decisions you'll ever face in a relationship. You sit there, replaying the good memories, convincing yourself to try harder. But sometimes it's not about trying harder. It's about recognizing when it's time to let go. Imagine holding on to a rope in a tug of war. You're pulling with everything you've got, but the other side isn't moving. Eventually, your hands start to bleed, and you realize that letting go is the only way to avoid hurting yourself even more. Letting go isn't about giving up. It's about acknowledging that the person you were at the start of the relationship might not be the person you are now. You've grown, you've changed, and maybe your paths no longer align, and that's okay. It's not failure, it's growth. But how do you know when it's time to walk away? That's where things get complicated. Point 3. The honeymoon phase. The honeymoon phase. That magical time when it feels like you found your soulmate and nothing could ever go wrong. It's like a sugar rush. Amazing while it lasts, but eventually you crash. In those early months, everyone puts their best foot forward. It's like a job interview, with both of you trying to impress each other. But once you get comfortable, the masks come off. You start to notice the quirks, the habits, and the little things that drive you crazy. That's when the real relationship begins. It's like buying a new car. At first, it's shiny and perfect, running like a dream. But after a while, you notice the brakes squeak, the AC isn't as cold, and it guzzles more gas than you expected. The question is, are you willing to put in the effort to fix it, or is it time to trade it in? Speaking of effort, let's talk about what it takes to keep love alive after the honeymoon phase fades. Point 4. Pain is the greatest teacher. Here's the thing no one tells you. Pain isn't your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. Every argument, every heartbreak, every tear, it all has something to teach you. It's like going to the gym. At first, it hurts, but that's how you build strength. When my relationship ended, it felt like a part of me was torn away. But looking back, I realized it taught me invaluable lessons. I learned how to communicate better, how to set boundaries, and most importantly, how to value myself. There's a saying, the strongest steel is forged in the hottest fires. Relationships test you in the same way. They put you through the fire so you can emerge stronger. But you have to be willing to learn from the pain, not just wallow in it. Once you've learned all you can, the next step is figuring out how to move forward. Point 5. Moving on is a fresh start. Moving on isn't about forgetting. It's about rediscovering yourself. Think of it as spring cleaning. You're clearing out the clutter, making room for new things, and realizing that what you thought you couldn't live without was just taking up space. There's a saying, you can't start the next chapter of your life if you're still rereading the last one. It's true. Every breakup, every ending, is an opportunity to press reset. When I look back, I don't regret the relationship. It taught me so much, what I want, what I don't, and what I'm willing to compromise on. That's the beauty of endings. They prepare you for new beginnings. If you're feeling stuck or lost right now, remember this. Every ending is just the start of something new. The final takeaway. Love isn't about chasing a fantasy of perfection. It's about finding someone who's in it for the long haul, someone who's got your back, who's willing to grow with you, and who doesn't quit when things get hard. Sometimes, you have to go through the wrong people to truly appreciate the right one. If you're in a rough patch, don't waste time feeling sorry for yourself. Learn from it, own it, and move forward. Every heartbreak you endure shapes you into someone sharper, stronger, and more focused on what really matters. One day, when you're exactly where you want to be, you'll look back and realize it was all worth it. So let's raise a toast to love, heartbreak, and the grind that molds us into our best selves. Because at the end of the day, it's all part of the journey, and you've got what it takes to win.